it's Neil Sean here on your entertainment news with the one, the only, the legend that is Mr. Joe Longthorne, MBE, no less. Remember though, Joe?
If you miss it, you miss out.
So don't miss Joe today on your entertainment news. We got there, well done.
Right, wasn't it?
If I never sing, I know the song. It wouldn't bother me. I've had my share of fame, and you know my name. Let me try again. Let me try again. Think of all we had before. Something in her eyes that show me, baby. All I have to do is just think of her. Why can't I fall in love until I don't give a damn?
Thank you. Thank you.
And maybe then I know what kind of fool I am. Yes, I am. Oh, I am.
Joe, welcome to the show. A real pleasure to finally get you in here. A big day today though, tell me all about it.
Neil, it was well, this morning I was up about 4:30. I had my breakfast early, and I was full of nerves, to be honest with you. And it's been a nice, wonderful day. And we got down to the palace and we received everything else. What a nice surprise. You know, lovely people, and an honour.
Well, you say it on it, I mean, amazing on it. How did you, what I'm always intrigued about, Joe, is when you get an award like that, how do you first find out? And do you ever think it's a bit of a joke, you know, when the letter comes?
Well, my partner James did, because I was working actually at the theatre in Leicester Square there, the little theatre there, about 400 or 500 seats, and we'd just done the gig, and I was on the way home back to Blackpool.
Yeah.
And James rang the car and said, "Oh, we've just got a letter from the palace. They're going to go to an MBE." Well, it was a surprise, because I don't tell you when you're at school, by the way, when you meet the Queen or the future King, or and it was a wonderful, genuine, wonderful surprise. But of course, it's not just for me. I've got a great fan base, if I can, you know, friendship club base, and they do quite a lot of the legwork work when it comes to these charities. And I mean, I've been involved with, the moment we've been involved with mothers and children in Nepal, which is building a hospital, and which is nice. And of course, Terence Higgins Trust. I mean, the variety of Great Britain as well. And I reminded the Prince today that I was a part of his little family called the Prince's Trust. And so a lot of all these sort of different things, for whatever it can be before, is has to have somebody running it, looking after it, marshalling it. So I'm just a part of all that, really. So it's not just for me; it's for the people that help me do what I've got to do. But
Let's talk about something that is very, well, it's definitely all about you. Your voice, has to be said, has been your fortune, for want of a loose term, Joe. But when did you, what I'm intrigued about is, when did you realise that you could sing? You know, when you get singers and they go, let's just sing around and...
Well, my family, they weren't pushy, my mum and dad, never actually pushy, but on the quiet they might have been a bit pushy. But you see, I come from a long line of travellers and you know, Romany people, gypsy people. And my father was a fairground merchant, and my mother was just a great Irish. So we had, my mother's side were like Irish tinkers, and my father was fairground people and scrap metal people. So that was
a showmanship, really.
But in itself, that's a bit of a So I mean, when I was a baby, I remember singing quite often, you know, in my pram. And my sister used to take me round to the terrace and get me to sing, knock on the door, and I'd start singing, and she'd get a few bob. be like that. So I like very
entrepreneurial family, though.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I mean, the singing came for me quite early, really. And of course, when I first started singing, my mum said to me, I was only a baby. You know, it's all right doing this singing it, but you should do more to this show business. You must do some what we used to call in those days takeoffs.
Yeah.
And so I started doing little things like step tones, and you know, and I'll go for. I was only about, I couldn't have been more than 5.
Yeah.
And so the grounding came at a very early age, because my dad was a brilliant piano player, and my mum was a champion singer. She could sing really good. So imagine being brought up with that. And I'd done quite a few of the pubs, because I used to travel around the pubs in Hull and Leeds. And
you see, you don't have that sort of. There's not that now, is there? If you wanted to learn that craft, there's no pubs really that do that type of entertainment.
I don't suppose, but everyone has the time, I think, Neil. Yeah. I mean, everyone has a bash at it, and fortunately, as I said, I had a great time, a good upbringing, very close family, and parents that could rattle it off. So I used to join us, like my father go and first play the piano for about an hour, and drinking pints everywhere. Then my mother would come on and give a good sing, and I used to come on and drag them both out. And I used to come on and I used to have little dealer boots and a hat with a feather in it, and all orange boots as a child. But that's what we do. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And so I used to go into the public house, and I'd join them, and I'd end up singing, "If you knew Susie like I knew Steve, oh what a girl," and tap dancing. You know, my dad. So it was good. And then
couldn't fail, could you? Really?
Not really. It was a good environment, because it let me get to what I wanted to do without actually going to college. And I'm not saying that's not, you know, but certainly it was there for me to do. And what
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup and brushes her long, long hair. And then she asks me, do I look alright? I said, look wonderful tonight. Go to a party and everyone turns to see this beautiful lady who's walking along with me. And then I ask her, do you feel alright? I said, tonight I feel wonderful, because I see the love light in your eyes, and the wonder of it all is that you just don't realize how much I love you. Time to go home now. I've got an aching head. Give her the car keys. She helps me to bed. Here we go. As I turn out the light, I say, you were wonderful tonight. Oh, my darling, you were wonderful tonight.
So you're known for doing fabulous singing impressions as well, but who inspired you musically? When you know, did you have like albums that your mum played?
Well, Mario Lanza was my first voice I probably heard. Mario Lanza, because Mario was never actually, would never conform to opera, as it were, because apparently you can't do opera, and if you want put your arms around, you've got to be arms at the side. It's got to be, well, Mario, of course, he was up and down boss, but so he was quite different to the norm of what we would say like Placido or any of these great people. They don't move very much, but of course he did. Well, that sort of encouraged me, because like going back to Al Jolson, that was sort of similar. When I saw Al Jolson give it, "Rockabye baby, where the voice came from here, and let me tell you, when you get that, and I was only about 5 watching these things, and Al Jolson.
And so were you always able to pick up, because your impressions are so easy for you to. And you're not just sound like them, but you I'm looking at you and I am seeing Tom Jones. I'm thinking, how do you do that? Do you
It's a persona thing, isn't it? Surely, it's a persona thing. I mean, I used to use props a lot, Neil. When I was in the days of Jersey in 1974 and 75, I used to use props. I used to dress up as Shirley Bassey and dress up as Demis Rousseau's, Cleo Lane. Dorothy Squires. So I used to do quite a bit of what they call drag, or female impersonations things, and that was good for me for a while. Then I decided, because I left my props in an office in Billy Marsh's office in town, and he was looking after me at the time. And I was doing a bit of a club thing. I left the props, and I was somewhere in North London, and I rang. He said, "Oh, your props are in," and I left him. And he said to me, "Just get on, forget the props. It's Billy." I said, he said, "Just go on and do it," and I did. I never used props ever since, apart from
funny,
television.
Isn't it, how something like that, Joe, can it changes your direction.
Yes.
It's not you've planned it, it's a fluke.
Just a fluke.
And you think, don't need them anymore.
Sure.
Saves your love getting around.
The sight of you leaves me so weak. There are no words left to speak. Play your cards right, be good night. But if you feel like I feel, then let me know. No, this is so real. Savvy, you're too good to be true. Brucey, I can't take my eye off of you. Whoa, yeah.
Search for a Star. When I was looking at you've got an extensive CV, and I was kind of shocked by that, because I remember you on Junior Showtime and stuff like that, you see, because I'm obviously from Yorkshire, we got it there, Calendarland.
Sure.
But Search for a Star was a big sort of breakthrough for you. I mean, prime time, 19 million viewers.
Indeed, and of course that was the time when the great David Bell was around, and Alan Haynes was, it's the band cover, the producers, and I believe John Cruelty was involved with that, of course, as well, because they brought Stanley Baxter down up from Scotland, of course, and and that little team went to London Weekend Television, and for the next 15 years, with the Cannon and Ball show, everybody's show, they had mastered it out for that. For 15 years, it was like London Weekend. That's the way to do it. And when I'd gone to auditions to, like the Huey Green and things in Grimsby and places, and every time I'd start singing, "Get him out of here," and it was really like that. It really like this. It really was. And on the piano, the guy. Then I'd follow Huey Green around, thinking, "Oh, he'll forget who I am. My dad was with me." And so we forget who I wasn't. Same next night, somewhere else, Nottingham. Get him out. So, and my dad ended up having a few words with you in the end. But
good for him, actually.
Well, he did, I mean, but I was thinking. I mean, look at it this way. He's thinking about his son. I mean, about what was I, 14 or something? Just come off Junior Showtime or something. And it was that way that so we went. So I never did auditions from then. And I went to do an audition for ATV's New Faces. Yeah. Fantastic show again, and as soon as I got in front of the mic, in front of the audition, I'm not an audition man. Yeah. Bosh again, get him out.
Yeah, then, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, if you can do it, you could do it to 2,000 people. Yeah. But 20 people's a nightmare,
sure.
Isn't it? I don't know why you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So then, I was appearing in Jersey in 1977, I think, at 78, and I'd done a show that I was working for a man called Huey Bean, who had the beans on the front there. Yeah. And I didn't know that, but the people were over from London Weekend Television. And after I'd done my show, David Bell came through and John, and said, "Well, so we'd like you on the show." So I did the audition, but coming to see me. And that's the way to do it. If you go to a pub, if you go to a public house and see an artist or a band, you can get a better idea from that, rather than doing auditions.
You see how you interact with an audience, and this is the thing. Audiences, when you see you live, they not just saying this, they absolutely adore you. I mean, from the moment you walk on, they don't really want you to leave. And I'm intrigued by this. You've had fame a long time. When you were starting out, say, like on Junior Showtime, did you realise when you're walking on the street, because how famous you become, you know, like when you're young.
You won't believe, man, you won't believe it. Can you imagine it? I was on Junior Showtime. Of course, Bobby Bennett was on the show, and there was a pool family, Glyn Pool. Les Dennis did a fortnight on it, I think. And of course, she would say, I'll pull you, what they call that ginger lass. I'll scream and everything else.
Oh, Bonnie Langford.
Great artist, wonderful performer.
Ginger lass.
Well, yeah, that's what she is. She knows what I mean. Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I was a kid. That's what you looked at like.
Yeah.
And I was that. So, and of course, I couldn't read or write at that time. Well, I had not a clue. But Gene Pierce.
Gene Pierce.
I bumped into Gene Pierce.
Is that Billy Pierce as well?
It is indeed. Yeah. The great comedian Billy Pierce. Yeah. But Billy was a little bit older now. He never got on Junior Showtime. Yeah. I think he's about 3 or 4 years older than I. Yeah. So, and his mum used to push me like mad. And when it came to doing the scripts and things, she said, if Jess sees that you can't read a script or you can't do a script, you'll be out the door. I would say, we'll do this. So they used to teach me parrot fashion. And Bobby Bennett helped me. And then musically I was fine, but I couldn't actually get it together. So I used to do it parrot fashion. And every week we used to do a little bit. We'd just get it right by the time it would come to go on. And so Jess never knew, there was never the wowzer.
Nothing's quite as pretty as Mary in the morning, when through a sleepy haze I see her lying there, soft as rain falls on summer flowers, and warm as the sunlight shining on her golden hair. Oh, my Mary's there in sunny days and stormy weather, and she doesn't care for right or wrong. The love we share together. Oh, and nothing's quite as pretty as Spain in the evening. No, of my tomorrows for a lifetime we will share. And nothing's quite as pretty as my Mary in the morning, kissed by the sunlight and the starlight in her hair. Oh, hey, hey, oh, oh.
But then you got your own show, which was, I mean, then again, I remember seeing that. And, you know, it's hard to imagine now because phenomenal viewing figures, which when you say to people now consider 4 million viewers a lot. You know, you're talking 15, 19 million viewers. Yeah. When you were doing TV like that at that time, did you get nervous or?
Well, I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Nigel Lithgow was the producer, a great man. Again, we had the best of, because I had about 6 or 7 musical directors in one band. Yeah. So we could have what we wanted. And Nigel was a great producer, but I wasn't always comfortable working in a studio as I am if the cameras come and see me live. I mean, a lot of performers. I believe Tom's a bit like that, and Shirley's definitely like that. Sometimes they can't put 2 words together. But I mean, that's because they don't naturally do that. So I always found the studio environment was a bit up and down and changing suits, but the show was a brilliant, wonderful experience. I met some wonderful people, had some great guest artists, and it's to be said, you know, with the great Wayne Dobson now, he's not very well at all in Wayne, but he's doing what he's got to do, and I mean, that was Wayne, I think, was one of the greatest sleight of hand and the great illusionist I've ever met in my life, and a good guy. Yeah. So I was on the show, we were on together for quite a while, and then we had different people like the Mamas and the Papas, which were more like the granddads and grannies by the time we got on. But, you know, some great guests and some wonderful show, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't too keen on the dancing, to be honest with you. Nadia knew that, because he knows I couldn't dance. In fact, I got on his nerves a few times. I couldn't dance, but I could chant.
Yeah.
And that was it. So, I mean, and imagine you're doing an half an hour show a week, it's not a lot. I mean, it's 12 minutes either side, 12 and a half minutes, then there's the commercials, of course, and then, so it's not a lot to be, but I used to get, because of changing clothes every minute, and I prefer to stay in the same thing. So I had a great time with these people, and as I said, that through this Search for a Star, and Nigel, I've known Nigel quite a long time. He asked me to do a show in Germany. It was ZDF.
Oh yeah.
In his dancing days, just when he finished. So he's always helped me along the way, you know, which is good. But you know, as I say, in an environment where I'm beginning to think what's going to be next, that sort of shakes me sometimes. That did come over as well on the TV. I was quite a bit nervous as well. But what a great experience, and to look back, and we were saying earlier on, to look back on that sort of thing, and what a chance for you know, all right, the guy can sing, but he's from up there and everything else, and comes down and giving everything from the dresses to the music to the orchestras. And I'm just speaking about your Search for a Star, because that's what he got. Like
there
the X
were
Factor.
great productions though in those days. I mean, you know, you look at it, and this is what's interesting with your career, because internationally as well, you're massive. I mean, Australia loves you. You know, you filmed a TV documentary recently in Spain. You know, when it broke internationally, were you, when you first went there, Joe, were you kind of stunned? Because, you know, I think we are as people, and you think, people know me here.
Well, I was a bit stunned, because the first time I went to the States, Neil, it was I was in a show called Drury Lane Theatre in Chicago. And when we got, my manager at the time, we got to the airport and we landed and everything. I was rolling woolly gear. It was something like 20 degrees below, and with the wind factors in Chicago. And I haven't got a green ticket.
Working.
So my manager, Ron Page, was the place in the Silver Skillet in Maidenhead. I said, Ron, it's up to you. Why are you here if you haven't got the work permit? He said, no, it'll sort itself out. Anyway,
I love their sort of lack of worry, don't you?
It'll be all right, you know what I mean? So he said, but if anyone asks you what you do when you go through the barrier, don't tell them you're a singer, you've come to perform, just tell them you come for a holiday. Well, they should have seen this big woman, big ass on her, and she comes with 2 guns on her. And she went to me, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm performing at the Drury Lane. I told it right away, I couldn't help it straight out.
Just nerves. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And fortunately, within 3 days of being there, because we should have been turned around, and a few calls were made, fortunately, and from the boss of the clubs, the theatre, should I say. And I had to see this judge, and he let me in. And so not normally happens, so I was very pleased with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is what you know, not what you know sometimes.
Yeah. And I think if they like you, you know, if they're a fan of your work, they tend to be a bit more lenient, don't they?
Yeah,
like, oh, well, he's a nice singer, you know.
Well, exactly. And when I finally got into the theatre, it was marvellous. Accommodations were on the theatre, like I like it, like on the Pier in Blackpool. The accommodations were actually in this theatre, beautiful, nice and kitchens and things. Yeah. And, you know, I had a great time there. But one thing was bugging me, because I'm a singer, basically, a performing singer, and a performer. I'd like to do that. So when you go to like the States for the first time, you ain't better do it. You've got to do a bit of singing, but you've got to do a heck of a lot of impersonations to get through to the crowd.
Yeah.
Because I was only doing it half an hour ago. So within that space, we had 2,000 people in every single night in the Chicago theatre. And so they needed to know instantly you do impersonations. You haven't got time to say, well now, or you know, or all these songs. I mean, you have to actually go straight into the business. So I was going into Tom, of course, and Elvis Presley. I didn't know Shirley Bassey at that time. It was like really, you know, Shirley Bassey. Are you a big spender? No, we don't know. Oh, well, that's a smack in the chops,
isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And also, so after my show had to be not done. But then again, it makes you do it. So all of a sudden, well, who do they want? My producer at the time said, they want Julio, he was huge, Willie Nelson, and Mario Lanza, of course, and Tony Bennett, and these people. Then once I'd done that for 6 months, then the next theatre we went to was in Philadelphia, and that was another 6 months. Well, once I got to go into Philadelphia, I knew exactly what I was going to do. So it went to 3 songs before I started doing an impersonation. And that's what I did in Philadelphia. And then I started impersonating with a big production show. And I asked my producer at the time, you know, should we be in Las Vegas doing this? He went, shh. I don't know what that was all about, but it must be something to do with unions or whatever it was, but which is their business. But I mean, so I never got into Las Vegas. The timing perhaps wasn't ready, but I had a ball in 1985. And so I worked with Tony Bennett and the great, Jerry Lewis.
I mean, you mentioned names like that, but you know, I got sent through some information about you, and you've got incredible sort of glowing tributes from huge stars. I mean, you know, like the Engelberts and the Tony Bennett's. Because I think it's very hard when you've worked hard in your career. When other people like you like that, do you take a step back thinking, oh, I bought his record when I was a kid from Woolies, or you know what I mean? It's a funny thing, isn't it?
And what's a bit strange, Neil, is that I find myself impersonating the people that I really enjoyed. And of course, at that time, it was Tony. Of course, it still is.
Yeah.
In those days, it was, you know, of course, Frank Sinatra. But I was born at that time of the thing. So I mean, they're all my favourites. Yeah. They're all my favourite singers. So it's the thing. Well, why shouldn't I do tributes to them? Because I've got the tools. Yeah. People like it, and the female impersonations like it. And so
they're keeping their name, you know, in a strange way alive as well. Because some people who are not with us think, oh, I loved him.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, it's this impersonation thing, especially vocal impersonation. I mean, you've got some great people at this. You know, you've got the master John Coltrane, and some of the great, you know, all these wonderful people. Like originally it was Mikey Howard and stuff. Well, I've never been a talkie impersonator, apart from Steptoe. I've never been a talkie one, so that was out my bag. Satire was away from me. Yeah. But certainly, so I'd those at that time. I thought I've got the full picture myself. Really, get the ball and score what you want. Because not a lot of people. I'm sure there are a lot of people doing it, but they weren't at that time singing and you know and that sort of thing. So then when I went to the States, I saw a French Canadian called Paul Dan. He's a big shot. He's big. No, he is. He did. First time I see him, I was watching the David Letterman show, and in the apartment in the theatre, and this kid comes walking on, and he goes, "We are the ones who make it," and did the full Tina Turner. I was like that. I said to my partner, "Get the recorder on." I said, "This is what's for me. This is what it's about." Yeah. And so that was the very first ever. I mean, there's to be Sammy Davis, but not a serious impersonator with Sammy. Not really. You know, but he could. But this guy could sing. He could do that. I really thought, thank goodness, I've met someone actually what he can relate to. The guy's like, yeah. And then I went to see him. I went to see him in Las Vegas. He was playing in the French, whatever it's called. And I went to see him, and I was totally impressed as well. But apart from that, I haven't seen anyone that does.
What you do?
Now, then we get tributes these days. People are doing, of course, Robbie Williams, and you know, and anybody you want. But I don't see anybody impersonating them. A lot of lookalikes are going around.
You're spot on there. They look like, because of Photoshop and everything, you can make somebody look like anybody now.
Well, yeah.
But you look and you think, yeah, but do they actually sound like them?
I'm not good looking. I'm not too smart. I may be but I've got a heart. I love the flowers, and I love the sun. But when I try to love the girls, they laugh at me and run. Don't laugh at me, 'cause I'm a fool. I know it's true, yes, I'm a fool. No one seems to care. I'd give the world.
The question I'm always in, I've got quite a lot of your albums, Joe, and what I like is, I love the way you interpret different songs. I like your version of Norman Wisdom's Don't Laugh at Me. I love the way it's a slow build and it comes along. When you're picking songs for albums, is it just down to your personal choices, or does the label come to you and say, we'd like you to do this style now?
Well, strange enough, I've just got back involved with a good friend of mine, John Quilty, who's actually going to produce the next. We're doing something from the arena in Wembley next year, big time. And so, and he says to me the other week, he said, "Yeah, Joe," I said, well, he's a very nice, polite guy. You know, he said, "Are you going to do some songs that's where you can be laid back at?" He means stop shouting, I think he means. And so I'm starting to do a lot of that, you know, songs that lay back a bit more.
Yeah.
But I've had a good team around me, you know.
Yesterday, I knew the games to play. I thought I knew the way. Life wasn't meant to be. And now there's you. My foolish schemes are now at last I have found just what makes this whole world turn around. Love is all I have to give. Love is all as long as I shall live. Take it all, and I'll always be there when you call my name. I know that love is all, my darling, 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 baby. Every night I long to hold her tight until the morning light shines into her eyes. Long enough, we'll get along somehow. Won't you please take my hand and together forever we'll stay. Oh, darling, love is all I have to give. As long as I shall live. So take it all, and I'll always be there when you call my name. I know that love is so.
And for you, obviously, I mean, but the albums and you know what you've sold, gold disc, silver disc, that sort of stuff. When they come through, Joe, is that always like? It must be a thrill to get a gold disc. I mean,
What it is, I mean,
incredible stuff. Really.
dare I say it, the first one's all right, the rest you get sick of. No, the first one, of course, it's nice. And then, but being the sort of guy I am, and I'll be honest with you, I'll put it
Yeah.
right, this gold disc is better, or platinum disc, whatever it is, it needs
Yeah.
to be somewhere doing some good. So I always sell them off. I sell
Yeah.
everything I get off.
Yeah.
So that before I drop dead or whenever it is, I can at least be clear that everything's gone for charities.
Yeah.
A lot of people, some people are starting to do it, but rather than, I mean, I used to have a few on the wall and bits like that, and I thought, what do I want to see in my face? And then somebody paint me of me. What do I want to look at me or what I've done on a wall?
I don't know why I'm frightened. I know my way around here. The band, the lights, familiar sights, the sound here in a world to rediscover.
Being through the walls. We know about that, it's highly publicised. But you seem to be able to you're incredible bouncing back. You know, what do you put that down to yourself?
Oh, faith, I think, faith.
A lot of faith?
Obviously, I mean, I've had a lot of treatment with a lot of great people, professors, doctors, nurses, great, you know, everyone's been looking after me and you know, that. But however, I will say that faith, for me, is a wonderful thing, and you know, and it works wonders because it's, why not?
Why not? When you had, say if you had the occasional off day, was music though you know, did you, because you always knew you wanted to get back out there and do it, was that, you know, I always find that with performers, it's like, there's always another show, there's always another bow, isn't it? It's like that song. Was that like when, because we read some stories and, you know, everybody was worried, sick about you really. I remember seeing you in Blackpool at the Grand and you came on and you worked. You were dripping, you know, sweating, and you worked. And yet, you know, when I saw you on there, nobody would know that you'd gone through and were still going through at that period.
Well,
Was that you click into another persona?
Well, as I say, I'll put that down as a face again. It's like, I mean, some of those concerts in the I must have been, I've come off and actually clapped. It sounds a bit dramatic, this everyone, but I've actually done the old clapping bit, and it's, you know, just couldn't. But for that 1 hour, should I say? Then all I've thought is, well, you know, Jesus Christ, and you know, a bit of faith and people around you, and it's like a will to get on. So I'm alright for like an hour. Then after that, bosh, carry me out the back way. A few times.
Cup of Ovaltine.
That's right. So I mean, it's definitely like a sort of adrenaline thing as well along it all. Because and if you have the Edward guys, I'm going to do this, then it'll get to it.
But part of that drive as well must be those fans, because I've seen you at many locations. And you've got your adopted home now in Blackpool, and they love you there. I mean, they just love you in Blackpool. I've seen you at the North Pier, I've seen you at the Grand, the Winter Gardens, all that. And when they come in, these people, they've got flowers for you, teddy bears even, and they don't want to let you go. And I'm guessing that you know quite a lot of these people personally, you know, because they're all at the front, and you know.
Well, I do, and over the years, I mean, I've seen people come and go, of course, and like we all do. But I mean, this last 2 or 3 years, I've got a friendship society club, which is good. It's a fan club, it's a friendship thing, and used to be run by a dear friend of mine, Rita Lamy, before, and now it's been taken over by Geraldine, who's with us now. And when you're doing charities, of course, everyone as friends does a little bit of something. Not one of us could do anything, you know. So to have these people around this charity-based thing for people in Nepal, as I said, the Terence Higgins Trust, cancer research, which is huge at the moment, what with that wonderful mapping that's going on, mapping the DNA. What a breakthrough that. I was talking to a chap the other day about it, because, you know, from what I can gather, you know, to actually do a DNA situation, it takes 3 or 4 weeks used to, then it was hundreds of thousands of pounds. Now it's about £1,000 a go, and like 24 hours. And what it's going to mean, of course, when all this, what the genes are and what they're not, goes into the computer, along with the doctors, of course, will be able to give people the proper treatment. Like, so they know now exactly what treatment you have to have for what illness you've got. So you're not going to be treated for something that's not, you know, it's not going to do any good. So the treatment now goes to exactly, it's like tailor-made treatment, which is wonderful, tailor-made management. Well, this is a huge breakthrough for cancer research. And what an honour it is to be a part of it, because it really, it makes me laugh. Because I never thought I'd see this sort of thing in my lifetime.
You see, this is the thing as well with you. I think you connect with the public, because although you've done incredible things with your life and your career's taken you everywhere, but when I saw you walking down the pier once and stuff, people just come up and say hello, and you're very approachable. You know, big stars tend not to, as we know, they tend to turn up in dark, blacked out things. They
big white Rolls Royces.
Yeah, and I think you know, when you look at the old school, we were just talking before we came on air that, you know, when you saw like the likes of, you know, still Ken Dodd, but Frankie Vaughan and Anne Shelton and stuff, when they walked down the pier, they were not told, but they went and shook hands with people, because that's your audience, isn't it?
Of course, that's your people.
That's the people who are paying to come and see it.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, I always try to have time for people. I mean, and I'm the sort of person I am. I'm a good talker. I mean, I'm chatting in like you wouldn't believe, but Neil, I also am a good listener when it comes to listening to people who are infirm or not quite well. I mean, my sister at the minute, I'm going through quite a bit of a trauma, because my sister's in as we speak, in Hull Road Infirmary now. She has the same condition I have, which is CLL, chronic lymphatic. It's a dreadful thing anyway. And my sister's got it now at the moment, and she's quite little at the moment. So I'm going up to Hull after we've finished today and go and see her. She's developing respiratory and everything. Things I've had done, I know what it's all about. And so, I mean, but, you know, it can be people with the nerves, it can be, if you can help someone as a human being, surely to God you can you know, or listen perhaps.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been a wonderful thing for me. It's a great lesson. I'm listening more now since we sorted this bone marrow transplant out. I'm getting to listen. I'm enjoying it as well. It's fantastic. But watch out because this mapping now, DNA mapping, you get a lot of people say, well, it's going to invade privacy, you can do it. Never mind that for a minute. This is saving lives.
If it does go, who cares?
Well, you see, the scientists and the people, the good people of the Cancer Research Foundation, they're not interested about privacy. They're interested about curing people. And I'm on that side.
This world is mine. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It's been there. You're so fine. Oh, baby. I wanna love you like a lover should. You're fine, so fine. I gotta show the world you're mine. Oh, mine. Yes, I treat them with thorns, and I'll never be sure it's wrong. Come on, baby. Johnny Crazy. Goodness gracious, great balls, say that.
I saw some lovely footage as well of you playing the piano brilliantly, by the way. I'm guessing you just play by ear, or do you read music?
Well, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. I'm not the only one. I heard Paul McCartney also plays by ear.
Well, it's not bad company, is it?
Not really. But, you know, I play by ear. I think for me to have been taught, all right, I don't know, it's different for everyone, but for me, my dad taught me how to play the piano, where he goes like by ear. He was like a bit like some of your viewers remember, well, you won't remember, but Charlie Cummins used to be a vamper.
Yeah.
Well, and when we moved out of our trailers onto a council estate, and they banned all pianos, budgies. Honest to God, they say, well, you know, you can live in that house with all you find, but you dare bring a budgie in there or a piano. Well, we used to get pianos every single Guy Fawkes night. We used to get all the old pianos rather than seeing them get banned. Yeah. We'd had to get, so we had a new piano every year. When it comes to winning this council house, I'll never forget it. I was ill with it all. No music, no budgie, no granny swearing.
Yeah.
That was it, and it made me ill. But and it was my dad. So I tried to learn to practice, would you believe, on the lid, because the neighbours would go mad.
So you just.
Yeah. So we were there 6 months, and my dad drug us out the place back to reality.
Yeah.
On the Hazel Road, it's like the East End.
Yeah.
Back to where we're happy, and we had a nice house and yard. And my
That
dad,
wouldn't be allowed today, though, Joe, would it? Because people wouldn't, you know, in those days, the neighbours could club up on people like that.
well, of course they could. Well, that's what it was all about. I mean, first of all, they should never be moved from where there was. See what in the 60s?
Yeah.
They sort of Said, right, you go there, Clomp, you go there.
Yeah.
All these people have been used to being together, and like down our terrace, we had a doctor, a fortune teller, that we had a striptease artist, and we had all sorts of colourful people, and they all knew
The
each other.
characters, and that's where you develop your sort of like character,
well, of course,
isn't it?
and not just that. My granny had a lovely, my grandmother had a beautiful second-hand shop at the end selling washes and ringers, and all sorts of clothes and shoes for one-legged men, all sorts.
Who needs the apprentice?
So that's it. But then we were ordered to move out of the area to go into somewhere that was alien, not just our family, you understand, but most of the other families in the town, the city. We moved, so when we landed we didn't know anyone. They didn't know us. So then all of a sudden it got a bit, and that's what happened with some of the inner cities, I believe. We got like, get on the next bus, you go into so. But anyway, we ended up back on the Hessel Road. We ended up
Happy.
Yes.
A couple of quick questions, Joe. Duet. Anybody that you still want to duet with?
Well, I'd love to do it. I'd love to do a duet with Placido Domingo or Paul Carrick.
And is there anybody? I know it sounds awful saying this. Is there anybody who's gone that you would have liked to have sung with?
Well, everyone. Frank Sinatra for a start. I got a lovely letter from Frank Sinatra's estate, his family, and a lovely little letter saying, we hear you coming to Las Vegas, which I was going over there, and they heard about me on the internet thing, and they said, if Frank was here and Sammy was here, we could have all come out and had one night off. No, sorry, excuse me. They said, if you'd have been around the 60s, I went, that was like if again. And we would have all come out as our families to see you to perform. No, that was nice. That was nice, wasn't it?
Wow, I mean, beautiful, really.
Well, it was funny,
Yeah. Musicals. Have you ever thought of that? Do you like that idea?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes, I'd love to do a musical. I mean, it's people are talking now about me playing a part in the Man from Atlanta, no, the Man from La Mancha.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which has been spoke about here and there, which I'd love to do. And one time, I was asked if I wanted to do a musical. I wanted to be Moby Dick, Captain Ahab, for the producer. I forgot his name. A big shot.
Cameron McIntosh.
Yeah, that's him, Cameron McIntosh. Well, I didn't. Cause when I answered the phone, the secretary said, "Oh, it's Cameron McIntosh." Well, I didn't really know who there was at that time, And so I said to her, "What is it?" And she said, "Oh, perhaps if you want to, do Captain Ahab." But I do believe David Essex got the part in the end. Yeah. But I was interested. But I said to her, "Well, I said I'm not too used to doing pantomimes on the phone. She would have hated me." So I tell him very nice, but not of course, completely ignorant to actually what was really going on.
But that is youth, though, isn't it? Because we've all said that. You meet people and you think, "Oh, who are you?" I remember somebody said to me, "Would you like a picture with this lady?" And it was Dusty Springfield in a room. But all I could see was this woman in a beehive wig, and I thought, "Is that Bette Lynch?"
Yeah, well, I know what you mean.
No idea. And when you're 19, you think.
Especially people behind the scenes, like we've got some fantastic promoters and musical impresarios and everybody else, but you don't always meet them, face to face.
They're just a name on a bill, aren't they? One of the final questions I want to ask is: when you're not performing and you're relaxing at home, what do you do? Or is music always in your world?
No. I've got a nice little place. With James and I've got a nice place. It's not a big flash gaff, but it's a nice place in Blackpool, in Brisbane. I sometimes call it Bispan, but it's Brisbane. And we've got like 5 or 6 hens. We've got 2 hens from Poland, a beautiful dog we've had 15 years, and also hedgehogs and the works. I enjoy getting home and getting into my own bits and pieces, like a lot of us do. Getting down to nitty-gritty. I'll take my dogs for a walk. I'll have to go into the garden, try and find the hedgehogs, to feed in the hens. I love it, just to switch off. Then, all of a sudden, I've got to get around the piano.
Yeah.
And I'm going to America.
How long is that though, Joe, before you get itchy feet?
Well, as soon as I finish throwing the stuff to the chickens and fed the hedgehogs, it's not because that's the karma, of course. And after that, I'm thinking, what will I do next? But I do enjoy that routine, and then I'll go and do it. Go on the piano to try and work something else. Because this year I'm going back to the States. This year I've got 5 theatres to play in America. I've got a new agent over there now. It's called Bobby. I forget her second name, but she looks after Jack Jones and I Will Survive. Yeah. Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, Gloria Gaynor.
And amongst other people, and she looks after me as well. So, and she's picked me some wonderful. I might get to Las Vegas in the future, I think.
I think so.
But the wonderful people over there in Florida, of course, and so I'm going out there to 4 or 5 gigs. Then, but James and I tend to go over quite a lot because we rent a place on the whatever it is, the canal,
Yeah.
lovely place in Fort Lauderdale.
Lovely.
So we're there and we enjoy that. And then, so I tried to go out there, we'd both do, to try and get out for a little bit of a rest. But then all of a sudden these gigs are coming in. It must be James, because these venues are coming in. And I've got a great future to look forward to when we get back in April. I'm playing quite a few places. We're actually playing at the new Talk of the Town, which is the Hippodrome.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's smaller than it used to be, but I'm going back in there. I'm going to do a bit of cabaret around town. And then we're talking about doing a lot of things with my friend Johnny and so it looks good it looks so something to get my teeth into.
If there's a song, right, Joe, finally, that would sum up, you know, that you enjoy always singing in the show and that kind of sums up about you, what would that be?
Smile.
Yeah.
I think that's quite says a
Charlie Chaplin's Smile.
Smile, indeed, yeah.
Joe Longthorne, you've given us many smiles. It's been wonderful to see you again. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. All the very best to you. Bye-bye. God bless you. Thank you.